y'all, welcome back for another edition of I'm Moving to North Carolina, Now What? We're getting into our inspections edition. So I actually have the pleasure of having Lee Warner with Warner Inspections here with me today. I'm Laura Richardson with Relevate. We are Real Estate Elevated. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the microphone, if you will, over to Lee to tell you a little bit about himself and how he got into this dirty business.
Yeah, thank you, Laura. It's a pleasure being here as well. I'm Lee. I'm the owner of Warner Inspections. I've been doing this for about 2 years now, and it's a little bit of a spin how I landed here. Jack of many trades, farming, community growing up. Got into law enforcement for a little bit of time and decided that there was more things I could do for my family, which led me into real estate as an investor and as an agent. And I always found that the home inspector, it was always intriguing. Like, what was he looking for? What was he doing? And I was like, I want to try that. And that's really the spark that really birthed Warner Inspections, was simply just my desire to get a little bit deeper for my clients.
Absolutely. So something that Lee does is he's got an elevated business model. So he's a one-stop shop, which we're going to talk about all the different things that Warner Inspections does, but just the caliber of his professionalism in a contract and how important that is, not only to me as your realtor, but also to the client themselves and all of the knowledge that they're going to gain throughout the process. Very hands-on. I can say this as the former educator. The fact that he can actually explain it in layman's terms, what's wrong with the house, or really what's not wrong with the house, because often we see these inspection reports and lo and behold, it's not perfect. Even new construction, you're going to have stuff that pops up on that inspection report. So we'll kind of talk a little bit about the differences between new construction, resale home, and what to expect there. So let's go ahead and just launch into a general inspection. We go under contract. I immediately let you know that the new client that's just gone under has however many days to get this done. We've got our due diligence window. So clearly that's important to get it done quickly, because I'm sure you've seen some pretty short DD periods.
We've seen some as, hey, we've got to get this done before Friday, and you're telling me Tuesday afternoon.
There you go.
It happens, and on a fast pace, we were able to build our company in a way that we could have enough availability so that when you say, Laura, I have a need, we have an answer. And usually that answer is, how quickly can I see you? How quickly can we get to the home? We do that through our online booking as well. We have that available. But that it gives you the response and the time and the prompt, right? We're going to be early when we show up to our inspections. We're going to be there earlier than usually a few minutes. Let the sellers leave, and then we get into the home. Sometimes they stick around with us. But buying that home, right, to the purpose of doing an inspection, I'm not going to say, hey, this house is going to fall down, or hey, this is all wonderful. Here's the reality of what we're buying, because I want to protect your assets. More or less, negotiating, that's your wheelhouse. You were the powerhouse when it comes to negotiating the deal based off our report. But I'm also going to give you the report that gives you the necessary tools with pictures and arrows pointing to the defects that we find. A lot of the common ones that we find, this is stuff even from as 3 to 4 years old, even older homes. Wood rot around door trim.
Yeah,
wood rot is a very
time.
scary term, right? It's not scary. I can give you with your clients and you guys at home the understanding of how scary is it. Is it the small spot here where we see some intrusion that we can fix with a little bit of flashing or just adjustments of doors and windows? Or is it, hey, there's been a leak here for the last 35 years that nobody's seen until we crawl under it?
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of backtracking here, the fact that we're not wasting any lag time because we can do online scheduling. I think that's part of the process that tends to eat into our windows sometimes, is the back and forth of trying to just get the appointment scheduled. Also being on site, meeting with a client, and we have so many relocations where folks are virtual. So they're having to Zoom call with you potentially at the end of the inspection, where Lee's going to walk you around and show you the things in the property that he's found for that inspection report. And we're specifically talking about the major items. And when we say major, we mean most important out of the items found in that house. Sometimes the most major really aren't that major. They're typical deferred maintenance that maybe just hasn't been taken care of.
Like one of the deferred maintenance ones that we find a lot is dryer lint and dryer vents. And people run the dryer and they forget about it. and don't realize that that's a very big fire hazard. One spark in the entire tube and potentially the home. It's something as simple as calling a rooter service out to clean it.
Or
regularly.
even where the dryer vents out to. Sometimes we've seen some variations on that. For example, having it vent to a crawl space was one that we uncovered where it was a builder issue, and the clients had no idea, the sellers in fact.
Yeah, they had no idea that the years worth of lint was just hanging under the floor joists of the home, just waiting for one wrong wind blow, and it would have been terrible.
I know. So let's talk a little bit about what inspectors don't do on inspections, because you're kind of the generalist, right? You're the person who's going in, the general practitioner, telling you all the things that maybe we need to get specialists to look at. So can you give a couple examples of that?
That's correct. So we will, so for example, in an air conditioning unit, we have a furnace in an attic or a crawl space. If it's got access panels that I can easily open, I'm not going to be removing tape and cutting sealed, anything that is sealed we're not going to remove. But if there's access panels that I can get a deeper look into the unit, I will. But we can't diagnose the exact issue, what is causing these things. Say we find rust in an air handler of a 12-year-old system. We're going to say, hey, this is rusty. It is working now, but just to be sure, let's call in a specialist to say, and our reports gives that specialist an idea of where to look for the problems. We can't say, yes, this is exactly what the problem is, but this is where we need to be. This is the person you need to contact. That way you're informed about its condition. Because even the brand new HVAC units, they won't turn on. Is it the gas valve? Is it a mixing valve? Do they have the right pressure coming there? Like, we don't check pressures of lines and things like that unless we're doing like well pump tests where we're checking the pump of the well to make sure you can actually turn this faucet on and this faucet on at the same time. But yeah, that's...
So kind of going back to the fact that you guys are diagnosing what you can as far as the general stuff and then sending out to your specialist. So all of this builds up in an inspection report, which is then, for those of you who are listening or watching us, you're taking that to your negotiation part of the contract. When I say negotiations, I mean we attempt negotiations. North Carolina is a caveat emptor state. We are a buyer beware state. Everything is written as is. It literally says that in our contract. So when you do go under contract, keep in mind you can give a pretty lengthy report to the seller, and the seller can say, I'm not going to do anything. Now, flip side of that, everything that's discovered is now a material fact. Keep in mind, we do not do pre-inspections here. It's always post-contract. So there's a little bit of give and take when it comes to negotiations. Both the seller has all the info, so they're deciding what do I want to fix so I don't have to go back to market. And then you as the buyer are deciding, are these things big and scary enough that it's worth walking away from my due diligence? Remember, due diligence isn't just a process. It's not just a window. It's a deposit that you're giving to the seller. And if you walk away for any or no reason at all, you are going to lose that deposit. That's a little different here in North Carolina. We're only one of 4 states that has it. If you want a little bit more info on due diligence, we do have a separate video, so feel free to check that one out. Due diligence, how does that kind of play into maybe what you guys are cognizant of? Are you more mindful of certain things knowing that we have a given window of time?
We are. One is we're going to be prompt to get to the site to do the inspection, but while we're there, and we understand that people are spending real money that could disappear, right? And they're paying us to come out to do the inspection. We're going to do a thorough job. In that report that you were saying, sometimes it may seem scary. We may have a 30 or 40 page report on a 3-year-old home. It's not the end of the world, but here's your tools. Here's your weapon to take to battle to your sellers in this market. For the alarming issues. We can make it more alarming. But it all comes down to, we're paying attention to the detail of that home, whatever the defect is, pointing you in the direction of who you need to talk to fix it, and the implications behind if you didn't do anything at all. Because there's some items that, like you said, the deferred maintenance. Maybe you could defer this for a year, like hermetic seals and windows. That's one thing that we do not inspect in North Carolina. But we'll tell you, hey, the seals are probably going in these windows. Consider replacing them the next, 3 to 5 years. That's kind of a value piece that we bring to our clients through that due diligence process. kind of like when you go to the doctor and you get a pain scale. Is it pain of 1 or 10? Is 10 being the worst, right? And giving clients that peace of mind of that pain scale. This could catch on fire. This is a 10. Mm-hmm. This is a minor cosmetic that could be a potential problem. There is a 1, 2, something like that. Mm-hmm. That process through due diligence gives you peace of mind, and it makes your decision more informed of if you proceed on with purchasing the home.
Well, yeah, and also Murphy's Law tends to happen, right? So as soon as you move in, some of the 7, 8, 9s might all happen at the same time. So do you have cash reserves to tackle that? So something else I want to tap into, because I feel like this is a huge misnomer, new construction. So very often clients think, okay, trust the builder, trust the county inspector. Not that they're not trustworthy, but they're going to fix all of the things throughout the process. How often do you find things that maybe were missed by other folks?
I don't think I've ever been to a new construction home, that I haven't found something that needed to be fixed, that could have been, primarily on the pre-drywall phase. Usually it's whenever, before we see plumbing, like the plumbing and electrical rough ends are there, no lights are working, there's no drywall or insulation. When we're checking the structure of the home, that's the best view we as home inspectors ever get of the home, is in pre-drywall phase. Mm-hmm. If we miss it there, if the builder oversight on a couple anchor bolts in the garage, and the next, North Carolina storm comes through and your garage wall blows out because it wasn't anchored to the foundation, that's why it's so valuable, especially for new construction, because the guys come in, they get it done fast, and if I'm in a hurry, I leave my tools. I've left tools and screwdrivers in crawl spaces and had to turn around and crawl back through. They miss things, and we are just not to put down the builders or to put down any of the trades guys that are out there that are working. I respect them, but being able to say, hey, don't forget this, and that one to the builder, the don't forget this thing, but for the client is this is protecting your home, and this is why.
Yeah, and I mean, people are human, right? And there's always room for a little bit of error, but like you were saying with pre-drywall, those errors can easily be hidden once the drywall is up, right? So,
Never see it again.
For example, I know that one that we've often seen are the little metal panels that go over where wires are going through some of the framing. So obviously, if that's not there to protect you when you're drilling into a wall to hang your beautiful new picture that you bought for your new home, next thing you know, you're getting electrocuted.
Or your house burns down.
Exactly. So obviously, all of these things are important to kind of check the underbelly. New construction, definitely an extra inspection that's well worth it. Something else to note is that Warner Inspections are able to do both the pre-drywall and the finished product, which is not always common, right?
Most home inspectors can, or we are all educated in the structure from pre-drywall. Some just choose to just do each individual phase. We offer a new construction package to all of our clients. It includes actually 3 inspections. You end up with your pre-drywall, your pre-closing right before you get ready to move into the good home, and then usually most new constructions will give you a 1-year builder warranty.
Yep.
We will come back at the 11th month and do another inspection. That way you can say, hey builder, we've noticed these things, and give them an additional report to bring to the builder. Essentially you get 3 inspections for one simple price.
Absolutely. So that's definitely very valuable, both to your wallet as well as the fact that you've got somebody who's seen it from start to finish. So guys, this is Lee Warner with Warner Inspections. This concludes part 1 of our 2-part episode. Please be on the lookout for that next one. Please like, share, follow, do all the things with the episode when it comes to watching us on YouTube or listening to all places that you can find your podcasts. I'm Laura Richardson with Relevate. All right, y'all, thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like, share, and follow us on Instagram as well as YouTube. We're also on Apple Podcasts. Again, I'm Laura Richardson with Relevate.